It is one of the most exhausting, isolating feelings in the world when you walk away from hanging out with someone feeling completely drained and hollowed out, but you can't quite pin down why. You find yourself sitting in your car, just gripping the steering wheel, or staring at your bedroom ceiling in the dark, replaying the last 10 minutes of that conversation over and over again on a loop. You enter this absolute mental spiral where you try to figure out if you are just completely overreacting or if you're suddenly being too sensitive. And the worst part is, if you were to bring it up to anyone else, you feel like you'd sound like the dramatic one because on paper, the literal words they said sounded perfectly fine. But your gut is screaming at you that something was incredibly wrong and your stomach is literally in knots. I need you to hear me on this. You are not losing your mind. You are not being dramatic. And you do not have an issue taking a joke. You just cross paths with a nice, nasty person. That is someone who deliberately wraps their mean intentions in a sweet tone, a warm smile, or a casual laugh so they can slice you down to size without ever having to look like the bad guy. You're watching Healing Looks Like Her, where wounds become wisdom and healing becomes strength. Let's get into today's message. We need to talk about exactly how these people operate because they thrive in that blurry gray area where they can pretend they did nothing wrong, and the only way to make it stop is to call it out for what it is. The absolute favorite weapon is the backhanded compliment. This is specifically designed to make you feel deeply insecure while making them look incredibly supportive to everyone else in the room. They will look you right in the eyes, smile warmly, and say things like, "Oh wow, you look so good today. I almost didn't recognize you." Or they'll look at what you're wearing and tell you they love how you just don't care what people think about your outfits. It sounds like praise on the surface, but it leaves this horrible, bitter taste in your mouth. They want you to accept the insult like it's a gift. And because they delivered it with such an innocent face, you find yourself actually thanking them for a comment that just made your stomach drop. It is a total trap. Because if you accept it, you're letting them disrespect you, but if you call it out, they make you look like you can't take a compliment. And when the backhanded compliments stop working, or when they feel like they aren't getting enough attention, they will move on to the public concern routine. This is when they intentionally take your private struggles, your deep insecurities, or your recent failures, and they bring them up in front of a whole group of people, but they act like they're just so worried about you. They'll lean across a crowded dinner table and loudly ask if that rash is finally clearing up. Or they'll ask whether you're still having money problems, making sure everyone knows you've been struggling financially. Maybe they'll casually bring up your dating life by saying, "How's dating been since your ex cheated on you?" It is such a shady, hurtful move because they are using your real life pain to make themselves look important while embarrassing you. And the second you freeze up or get upset, they immediately play the shocked, caring friend who was just checking on you. They love to throw the rock and then hide their hands behind their back, making sure they look like an angel while you're left sitting there completely humiliated in front of everybody. If you do find the courage to speak up in that moment and tell them what they said was out of line, watch how fast they flip the script. The exact second you say, "Hey, that feels a little disrespectful," they will instantly turn themselves into a victim. They will look at you like you're crazy and accuse you of being too sensitive, defensive, or always looking for a fight. They might laugh it off, roll their eyes, and tell you it was just a joke, basically saying that the problem isn't that they were mean, it's just that you don't have a sense of humor. This is just straight up gaslighting. They want you to doubt your own ears and your own feelings so that you end up backing down and apologizing to them. By shifting the blame like that, they never have to look at their own toxic behavior, and they force you to carry the weight of fixing a problem that they went out of their way to start. To stop letting this stuff get under your skin, you have to understand the real reason why they do this. Nice, nasty people are completely obsessed with their public image. They desperately need everyone to think that they are the sweet friend, the nice guy, or the peacemaker. But because they are actually terrified of real, honest conflicts, and they don't have the maturity to just talk to you directly, they use passive aggression to poke and prod at you until you lose your temper. They are literally pulling your strings behind the scenes, waiting for you to finally snap and yell. Because the exact moment you lose your cool and raise your voice, they get exactly what they wanted. They can step back, point their finger at you, and tell everyone else, see, look how aggressive and crazy they are. I was just trying to help. They completely wipe away the days of subtle torture that led to you snapping in the first place. Their behavior comes from a place of deep envy, insecurity, and straight up cowardice. Once you realize that they are only doing this because they are hurting or jealous inside, you can change the way you react so you never give them the satisfaction of making you look crazy. The best thing you can do is just play completely dumb and make them explain themselves. When they drop a nasty comment wrapped in a nice melody, don't get mad. Just look at them with a completely straight face, tilt your head, and calmly ask, what do you mean by that? If they make a slick, passive aggressive joke at your expense, ask them to explain exactly why it's funny. Forcing a nice, nasty person to actually break down and explain their own hidden insult completely kills the joke, exposes their malice to the whole room, and leaves them stuttering and fumbling for words. Another great way to handle it is to call out the vibe, not just the words. You can look at them calmly and say, look, your words sound supportive, but your tone feels a little condescending. Is everything okay between us? This drags them right out of that blurry, gray area they love to hide in, and it forces them into a direct, mature conversation that they are absolutely terrified of having. Now, if you just don't have the energy for all that, you can always use what people call the gray rock method, which basically means becoming the most boring, unreactive person alive. Nice, nasty people feed on a few things. First, your confusion. Second, your visible hurt. And then your desperate attempts to defend yourself. When they say something slick and you just respond with flat, boring, one word answers like, oh, okay, got it, or interesting, you give them absolutely nothing to work with, and they will eventually get bored and take their drama somewhere else. At the end of the day, getting your sanity back means realizing that your peace of mind is worth way too much to waste it winning an argument with a coward. You don't owe anyone an explanation, you don't owe them a reaction, and you definitely don't need to waste your energy trying to convince everyone else that this person is toxic. Your only job on this healing journey is to protect your own peace, guard your space, and trust your gut when it tells you someone isn't safe, no matter how much they smile at you. If this message resonated with you and helps clear some of that fog you've been feeling, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with someone in your life who really needs to hear it today. Remember, healing isn't about erasing the wounds, it's about discovering the wisdom they leave behind. Keep healing, keep growing, and keep becoming. From wounds to wisdom, one step at a time.